Hey guys, Dan at Bushcraft. Well, I've only been searching for a multi-tool that I enjoyed using out in the woods for some 30 years now. When the multi-tools very first came out, the Gerbers and the Bucks, I snatched up the first ones on the market. I thought they were fantastic tools for using around the home, and I still have, actually to this day, I have my very first ever Gerber, the very first one that ever came to the market, and I have the original Buck multi-tool, which hasn't been made for many, many years, and I still have both of those. And many times I've used them around my home, I've used them out in my field, I've used them working on my vehicles, but when I took them to the woods, it was just like extra weight. They didn't perform well, they didn't do what I wanted them to do. So I left them at home, and over the years I have bought numerous others. I've bought the Leatherman Wave, another Leatherman, the Gerber Diesel. I've bought some other brands. I've borrowed other people's, and every one of them has their pluses around the home. You know, doing home repairs again. I work on irrigation pipes for watering our property, doing various things on my pickup. But every single time when I've taken it to the woods, they've felt bulky, they've felt awkward, something that was just too big and heavy to be packing around on my belt and using in my hand. The saws, far more often than not, when it came to trying to saw a limb or something, were just completely worthless. Well, after only a mere 30 years or so of searching, I have finally found my very first multi-tool that I am enjoying out here in the woods. I am really liking this. So it's not as big and bulky as, like, for example, the standard Leatherman or the Leatherman Wave. It is a Leatherman, and yet it's just as heavy duty, and that's been the flip. When I've switched to the smaller multi-tools that weren't big and bulky, they just didn't perform at all. You know, the saws wouldn't cut, the pliers had no power, you couldn't cut a piece of wire, nothing. Well, I am out here today with the Leatherman Rebar. Now this is a smaller, lighter Leatherman, actually a lot lighter than like the Wave or the 300, more compact, and yet the pliers and other tools feel to me like they are just every bit as heavy duty as a full-size Leatherman. So, and it, as you can see, it has saw, Phillips screwdriver, bottle can opener, things that come in handy around the camp. That's one of the reasons I would want it out here. File, more screwdriver, an awl, another item that would definitely come in handy around camp, a standard knife blade, and of course some very heavy duty wire cutters and pliers. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run this through some bushcraft tests, things that I might do around camp. Obviously, as I said, can opener, I have soup out here, so the can opener would come in handy. Bottle opener might come in handy. Wire cutters. Okay, you guys know I do snares, and I always carry snare wire with me. So snare wire is really easy, you know, a small, fine wire. But some wire cutters on these multi-tools won't close up tight enough to cut small wire. They'll just bend it over. So how about these? Nice, no problem at all. Okay, how about some heavier wire? Galvanized steel wire. Is this something that I might want to cut around camp? Well, as a matter of fact, yes. I took my little Pathfinder cup, which has the handles, comes with those little, what do they call them, fish mouth spreaders, which I really don't care for. So I wanted to put a bail handle on it. I can just take the handle right off, put the handle in my pack when I'm not using the cup, and reattach it. So pliers worked fantastic for bending the hooks. And for cutting galvanized wire, which is a heavier gauge wire, the wire cutters. Bam, fantastic. Work absolutely fantastic. Okay, another task I might want to do is to use the knife blade for maybe cutting some parachute cord or something around camp. Well, let me close these up here and make this a little safer. All right. How would that work? And by the way, there is a lock on this, so the blade actually does lock. Okay, so cutting a piece of parachute cord. Look at that. I actually shaved my arm with this blade, which is kind of nice because, you know, usually your good quality survival knives you're doing that with, but here I am with a little Leatherman and I can shave my arm. Okay, so cutting cordage, cutting wire, bending wire, opening cans, opening bottles, and it is so compact and light. See, that's the thing. I grab a big Leatherman Wave or something like that, which is a great tool around home, but I start lugging that around the woods and trying to use it around camp, and like I said, it feels like it's bulky, it's heavy, it gets in the way. This thing is so light and so comfortable in my hand that it's a joy to have out here. Well, let's take it a step further, guys. Let's see here. Let's try just a couple little tasks, maybe pointing a stick for cooking on. You know, I like to cook sausages over the fire. Trim that up. Look at that. Blade works nice. What about something a little heavier? Can I actually carve a notch? So I want to put a notch in this to tie some cordage or something. Well, let's see. Let's treat it just like we would a regular bushcraft knife. Push down, make a little push cut, and of course I'm not going to try to do this on too big of wood. That's what my knife on my sheath is for. But to know that I can actually do this with a little Leatherman is pretty cool. Pretty cool. After all, it's not something that you would regularly use a Leatherman for. Look at that. Nice. So as I said, I wouldn't want to do anything real big. Probably could do bigger, but if I just wanted to make a notch in a small piece of wood and my multi-tool is there, it does that just fine too. And it's going to be great for making sticks to put sausages and stuff on over the fire. Just to see, a little bit bigger wood here, just to see. Make a little V-notch. And, yep, maybe I want to hang that bale cup over the fire. So I need a little V-notch on a piece of wood. And Leatherman is working just fine for making a simple V-notch. There we go. I want to put my cup over the fire. Needed a V-notch. And there we go. Perfect. All right. One of my biggest complaints of all on a multi-tool has always been the saw. I have a lot of multi-tools at home, expensive ones, name brands, where the saws will not saw. They're just completely worthless. So Let's find out right now. So can you guys see right? Let's see right there. You should be able to. Only problem is I don't have a good hold to keep the branch from sliding around. But that being said, decent. Not great, but decent. Better than others that I've used. All right, well that was green wood. How about a piece of dead wood I just picked up off the ground? Well, I can tell you right now, it does not work as good on the dry wood. There we go. I say that and then I just got it cutting good. Broke off at the end. Not great, but not bad either. So many of these little saws that I've used have been absolutely worthless and would not cut at all. It's not great, but then it's a small saw, but it did fine. It actually, if I needed to cut off a limb or something real quick and didn't have anything else, it would work well enough. So anyway, after 3 decades, the Leatherman Rebar, I finally have a multi-tool that I am enjoying carrying out in the woods. So if you guys are looking for a multi-tool and you've experienced the same thing as me, the little ones just don't cut it, the big ones feel kind of big and bulky and awkward, Leatherman Rebar, highly recommend it. Thanks for tuning in to Bushcraft. Take care, guys.